Injury concerns after Wednesday? Is everything looking okay?
I think so. So let's see how everybody's tomorrow morning. Obviously, we haven't been able to train much, so tomorrow we'll have the final update.
Sorry to throw names at you, but you're in Timber, Havertz and Odegaard. Odegaard actually came off. Will he be okay?
Yeah, Kai and Julian will be out.
Okay, but yeah. Martin, you're confident?
That's it.
You said you were fuming on Wednesday night. 2 days on. What would you say the overriding emotion is for you just now?
Focus on Fulham and hunger. Hunger to play, hunger to compete, hunger to win, hunger to be closer to achieve our dream. Has
the club received an explanation from UEFA about that decision making and have you sought one?
I don't know, I haven't spoken to them the last few hours, so I don't know. We will deal with that on Monday. Now it's Fulham.
Just a feeling of injustice can often be quite a powerful emotion. Can you use that emotion to maybe fuel your players going into the run-in?
Maybe, but I think we have enough fuel in the tank. I mean, we're playing to win the Premier League. It's exactly what we want it to be. 4 games to go. It's game 2. I'm ready to go.
The reason I ask that is because you often hear about something called siege mentality. Is that something that you feel that you can bring to your squad and that you have, that maybe you have that siege mentality within it at the moment?
We certainly have that, and we need to face any context, any situation to achieve our goal. And what happened the other night was extremely disappointed, and we need to make it at home now.
You see your players every single day, you work with them every single day. When you look at the whites of their eyes, what are you seeing?
Hunger. Hunger to win. That's it. To compete, to prepare, and to achieve the goal that we set at the start of the season.
The fans are likely to be kicking every ball and be on edge, if you like, until the end of the season. What would your message, with just a few games to go now, be to them?
Let's keep doing what we did all season and bring that energy, that passion, and together we're going to make it happen.
Just finally from me, Mikel, last week you talked about courage from your players. Is it now almost a test of nerve more than anything else from now to the end of the season?
It's a lot of factors. That's something that emotionally, for sure, we have to manage in the right way. But I will put the emphasis more on again, showing that desire, that determination, that hunger, that will that we've shown all season and even more, because we have only 4 games to play now and everything is at stake, so it doesn't get better than that.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Syria from the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Fulham have conceded more goals than anyone else in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Arsenal in the Premier League have scored the most in that time period, 14 goals. What's so sacred about that half-time for you, and why do you think it's been so successful for you to come out and keep going?
With the first thought is that we try to prepare and understand what happened in the first half and try to apply it immediately in the second half. There will be a lot of factors, I'm sure, to get those stats, and it's very positive. But what we want is throughout every 15-minute block of the game to have the ability to do that.
Now, of course, we have to start with that title race. Arsenal can go 6 points clear by beating Fulham tomorrow night, 2 days before Man City take on Everton in the Monday night football. Pep Guardiola has, of course, done this all before, though, having won the Premier League 6 times. But he admits that he doesn't yet know whether his current crop of players have the mentality needed to get over the line.
I see the team, how grew up, through the month, and we are better than they were 2 or 3 months ago, and next season we'll be better. So I had that feeling that have to be the teams. And after, of course, in the decisive moments, appear one detail that is so difficult to discover or to try to teach, is the monster mentality to say, okay, whatever happens, we have to win that game. And that in that moment is only what defines the big teams.
Where does that monster mentality come from?
From themselves, for the environment that they live during 11 months, and that happened. And sometimes you don't have it, and we have to prove again if we have it, because we proved in the past for all generation players, but now I don't know, and we have to do it to find a way to win the games. The big teams always find a way to win games in the decisive moment. And in the past we did it many, many times. And now I don't know, because the team is 50% is new. So that's why we have to see how they handle it. Some players in these stages that know, well, it's winning or losing the Premier League or FA Cups.
Well, I believe it was Jurgen Klopp that coined that phrase, mentality monsters. I mean, Kev, do you see this City side as having that mentality?
Well, I think when we probably discussed it about 6 weeks ago, I think when we were last on, we talked about this, about it being a new generation, new crop of players. Can they now adopt what the Man City of old did, where they went on that incredible run and sort of hunted Liverpool down, or always just found a way? I think what we've seen is that they've got something. You've got Bernardo Silva, who's absolutely the massive force in dragging them. And when he talks about environment and them creating it, he's created the environment, and you've got to be able to maintain them standards within the environment. And everybody knows when you go into there, you will go walking in to a winning environment, and if you can't handle that, you'll soon be put on the sidelines with Pep. And I think what we've seen is that there's been a lot of them players who he's bought over the last year who've started stepping up in the last few weeks. You've had Donnarumma, who's been around for I don't know how long and won, World Cups, everything else, or championships. He's used to winning trophies. John Stones will be behind the scenes. I've just mentioned Bernardo Silva, Erling Haaland, and then you've got all these. Exactly. Yeah. So, these are mentality monsters in their own individual right. Can they get it right for the next so many weeks into the end of the season? That we'll only find out. But if it's anything of Man City of old, I'll fear for Arsenal and for yourself, Roman.
No, of course. But, it's interesting you mentioned Bernardo Silva there. I think in the last kind of couple of 3 weeks, people have started throwing him in for player of the year, player of the season. If City go on and win this title, do you think a player like Bernardo Silva, Quinton, do you think he's probably as important as a Rodri to get it over the line?
He's the leader. He makes things happen. He's the link in the team. If I can compare him, he's like the new De Bruyne. He's that important for them. He's like a Vitinha for City, like Vitinha's for PSG, but he makes things happen. He can beat people. He drops into pockets. He even gets the ball from the goalkeeper. The guy can play in any position. And Pep's got so much confidence in him. And what a play to have in your team. He's almost like a Xavi.
Yeah. He's
Pep's Xavi now of this team. Yeah. And as long as they keep him fit, City's got a big chance to win this league.
I mean, you know firsthand what it takes to get it over the line, to win a title. What mentality is required, and is it the other players that are going to be looking to people like a Rodri and John Stones, as Kev mentioned?
Well, Kev mentioned there is the environment you walk into. When I walked into Manchester United environment, I didn't know any difference in terms of you come into an environment, it's already there, a winning culture, like you mentioned, monster mentality. You've got to just adapt to that. If you don't, Kev mentioned, you're out. So Pep mentioned something very important. He's got 50% of his team. That's more than enough.
Yeah.
The rest. So the young ones, the ones you sign, who come into that environment thinking, first of all, I'm playing for one of the best managers in the history of the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to Man City, who's already who's won so many leagues, Champions League. So you walk into a winning environment, and he's created such a culture there. Any player that come in there won't come in with a slack mentality. I'm coming to the Pep Guardiola's team with great players. I've got to adapt.
But how do you adapt? Like, how do you actually handle it? Is it relying on others to kind of teach you or walk you through it in game? Like, for instance, if you're 1-0 down in a game and you're like, we've got to win this.
First of all, they sign you because you've got something.
Yeah.
Then you got to that level because you got your own mentality. But you look around your team, you sit in the change room, you got Haaland, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Foden, Stones. You go around the team, you go, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then the way they train, the way they behave, I cannot speak for City, but at United, you trained in a certain way, and there was a standard in training. You look at our captain, Roy Keane.
Yeah.
That was it.
I suppose that the mentality is going to be tested so much. If Arsenal were to go on, say tomorrow, take points off of Fulham, they go 6 points clear. Kev, how difficult is it going to be that they're going to potentially have to play second after Arsenal each time, so they could potentially be way back on the points?
Yeah, and I think that's something which obviously 50% of the squad have been used to throughout the last few years, so that won't be bothering Pep. What he'll be talking about and what they'll be speaking about in the dressing room. And I think it's probably certainly the same when you're down the bottom, you know, and I spent a bit more time down the bottom than I did at the top, unfortunately. And what you talk about is don't worry about anybody else. Don't ask anybody else to do you any favours, because it's about us. If we're perfect and we get it right more often than not, that gives us the opportunity, and that's what Pep will be putting into him. Don't worry about the league now. It's only what happens at the end of May.
Yeah.
You know, the last game in May, that's the only time that the league's going to matter, when we're picking up the trophy, and that's what he'll be telling all them lads, and he'll be helping them through it and telling them how it works and what they do. And then, as Quinton said, you know, the training and everything will be geared towards them winning another trophy in the Premier League, and more than likely an FA Cup as well. So who was talking about 2 months ago that they could probably finish with 3 trophies, and it'd be remarkable if they did.
Okay, well, Pep could have been watching an all-time classic Champions League semi-final on Tuesday night, which finished PSG 5, Bayern Munich 4. Instead, well, he chose to go Stockport, Port Vale in League One, and here's why.
No, because the day before I saw the calendar, the game PSG Bayern Munich. I said, bah, what a disaster game. So managers are not good, Luis, Vini, so really players. So I decided to go I'm in love with English football, and I went to see Stockport.
Sounds like he enjoyed his time. Were you surprised that you saw him there?
Because I've heard that he's in love. He likes the English culture, the football, and going with lower league games. And friends of mine, Steve and Sanjo, told me the other day they saw him and they couldn't believe it. They're like, what is...
At Stockport?
At Stockport, because they were at the game and they support Stockport. And they looked at it like, is that really... They had to double check it. Is that really him? Because they couldn't believe it. Like, of all people, Pep Guardiola is watching Stockport. But it's great to see that.
Yeah,
it's great to see.
I think there's an element of the fact that he's disappointed that he's not there as well.
Yeah.
You know, so he's thought, you know, get himself hot.
He could have stayed at home.
Yeah, but what I mean is that it's all Champions League football, and he could. But you know, for him, you know, not being in the latter stages of the Champions League where he expects to be, you know, as a world-class manager, I think he's probably thinking, you know what, there's a nice little game going on down the road from me, and
the game
I'll go and enjoy that.
The game wasn't that good anyway, so
I'm sure he loved it.
Not for Stockport anyway. So,
well, as for Arsenal, Mikel Arteta has encouraged his players to embrace the noise around them as they look to win the club's first Premier League title in 22 years.
We know the society we live in, it's impossible to avoid it. You do see things, you do read things. Do you try and help your players cope, or put in any rules, for example, and say what they can and can't see or listen to?
I tell them, love it.
Really?
I mean, you want to win the Premier League, you want to win the Champions League, what is going to happen? At some point you're going to lose a match, they're going to destroy you. That's it. So love it. You want to be there? Love to be there. When you win, you love it. When you lose or you don't play your best, it's going to be games where you're going to lose the ball. Yeah, you're going to lose the ball. Love it. So you will become better. And that's it. So it's not another way. You want to be at the very top. People are waiting there. It's normal because it's natural. And so it's not like we're going to be only one winner. The rest, what happens? They're not good enough. Come on. I mean, if somebody believes that, then it's something wrong.
Guys, I guess this is a question only, you know, people that have been there and played the game, you know this. I mean, for a Premier League footballer, you know, you're at the height. How do you embrace the noise, and how difficult is it to shut it out at times?
Well, we were lucky we didn't have social media back in the day. You didn't have to.
But even like, you know, what he's talking about there, he's talking about also on the pitch. You know, he's talking about the Emirates Stadium. He's saying that sometimes it can get on the back of the players.
I know it's a different generation, and Kev will probably back me up. But just don't look at it. It's as simple as that. Obviously, back in the day, it was newspapers, and you just don't pay attention. I'm more focused on what I need to do at training, how I need to sleep, prepare my mind, and what I need to eat, and how I'm going to perform. If I have time to do other stuff, then I know my attention is somewhere else. So your attention, if I'm in the Arsenal change room, my attention will be like, I've got to win the next game. And all my focus is in it, my preparation needs to be right. I won't even have time for other stuff. I don't know.
I was going to say, Kev, just quickly, what about in the stadium? Like, so for instance, like, playing at St James's Park.
I think that's come a sort of a thing at the moment, isn't it? Because there's been a lot of anxiety around the Emirates at the minute, and when Arsenal are playing, if they're not up 1-0 or 2-0 in after half an hour, things start to get a little bit tetchy, shall we say, and I think that's what this team have got to learn. They've got to learn that they've got to take that responsibility on, and they've got to block out that noise. As Quinton said, the biggest thing, playing at St James's when it's not going so well, or you're losing a game what you're supposed to be winning. You're always going to get the moans and the groans. What these lads have got to do is they've got to step up, and they've got to have them leaders, and they have. Declan Rice is one of them. Who's done it. At West Ham when things weren't great, and he stepped up at times and was counted. So with people like him in the Arsenal team, that's why I have probably faith more than I have in the past. That they've got a real good chance of getting over the line. But what they've got to do is just it's got to be now. It's got to be we're in together now. Let's close everything, siege mentality, close everything up.
And use all that noise to kind of to get even more together, because everyone's against you. Everyone wants to get Arsenal. Not everyone. Sorry. A lot of people out there don't want Arsenal to win. So you take that, you go, okay, even more, unite even more, and that gives you more energy to come win games.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned Declan Rice there. Few Arsenal fans, including myself, we've seen or noticed that a change in position between Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. Usually, Martin Zubimendi a little bit deeper in the classic 6 role, as someone would say. Declan in that number 8 role. And actually, about that switch, this is what Arteta had to say.
Yes, especially the way they set up and said some things that we wanted to achieve to provoke certain spaces and avoid certain things that Atletico are really good at. And we have the variability to do that with it in a game that it was quite new, but we need to open ourselves a little bit more to certain things, because it will create problems to the team, and I think it will unlock certain possibilities that the players have to become even better.
So we might see that more in the Premier League as well.
I feel like he's not giving much away there, but obviously...
I think the biggest thing what I sort of took from that, or when I seen it, the sort of switch, I think because Dec's probably athletically better than the Zubimendi, in terms of they're a counter-attacking team, Atletico Madrid, and play real deep, and he's one who can sort of race back because he is a proper athlete, and he can get to 0 to 60 quite quickly, and he's really good in 1v1 situations, so I think that's what it was, and I feel, and look, Dec done that for us at West Ham for 4.5 years, so it's not something that he hasn't done. Maybe a bit different for Zubimendi being a bit higher, but he's the top class players you're talking about.
I mean, as you say, you've worked with Dec, you've seen him up close, as well. Is his best position as a number 6?
He can play all of them.
Or is it...
Roman, I'll be honest, he, as I said, and I know people sort of sometimes raise their eyebrows when they say it, but he's the closest thing I've seen to Steven Gerrard. Stephen could play right back, centre half, centre mid, right wing, left wing. You've seen him play every position. Dec's that, and he won't let you down. He'll be 7 out of 10 in majority of the positions, but when he's in midfield, that's where he's best at, and he can play in either of them and be the 9s and 10s out of 10s what you need. What they need now is for him probably to go another level in the next 4 weeks we've got left of the season.
Quinton, just on Martin Zubimendi really quick, what do you think that says about the manager's trust in him in those big game situations to be that join, that pivot between defence and midfield?
It shows that they've got freedom to move, because obviously once at the times you got Declan Rice, Zubimendi playing alongside, then Declan Rice got the ball from the back, they build up, he goes high with Odegaard, so there's they're allowed to move in their position. But of course, you mentioned before they sign as a 6. Look, some players go through good stages in the career or the season. Declan at the moment, he's your anchor, as Kevin mentioned. He's an absolute beast. The guy can do box to box, and if I'm Arteta, I want him to be my 6.
Yeah.
Because when things break down, I know who's going to make the tackles. So Menil can link with Odegaard. He's a more forward-thinking player, but he can drop as well to receive the ball. But if I want to choose between those 3, I want Declan Rice to be my 6.
Okay. And on the actual title race, let's have a look at the running that is left, because I mean, when you look at it on paper, there's a big congestion around some of City's fixtures already. Kev, what does that look at? What does that run-in say to you?
Yeah, well, as you said, I think what it does do, it just gives Arsenal a real good opportunity to go 6 points clear, go on, now over to you. And then they've got their 2 games, and then West Ham come to the Emirates, you know, and they,
that's at West Ham.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, West Ham. Yeah, I'm actually doing that game.
Yeah, there you go.
I should know that.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Kev, but the Fulham game after the Atletico Madrid Champions League is a big one, Kev.
Yeah. Exactly, and then and these are what they've got to take into consideration, which we never would have probably last year and the year before with Man City, because we thought, they're just going to top it off, they'll knock it off, they'll knock that one off. We'd just probably concentrate on what Arsenal are doing. I think what Arsenal have got to do is keep asking the question to Manchester City. So tomorrow's a big one. Go out and win it. Go and win it. Then wait and see. Sit back, over to you, and then be ready. Then be ready for the next one at West Ham away, which is a tough one again.
I think if Arsenal get through Atletico Madrid, if they can get, meaning beat Atletico Madrid, that will give them so much confidence to go win this Premier League. That's the big one for me. Okay. You beat Atletico Madrid, you can win the league.
Yeah, got to win tomorrow first.
Yeah, that was very important for Arsenal. René, you've been part of the coaching staff on so many Premier League title wins. When Arsenal suffered the disappointment at the Etihad, what does it feel like to just get over the line like they did there against Newcastle United, when all the questions are being asked of you?
Well, the key is to making sure that you cut out the noise from outside and making sure that the focus remains on what's in front of you. Basically, you just need to have the reset button. I still have to remember in the season that, I think it was 2008, 2009, that United played away to Barcelona and they drew 0-0 and Ronaldo missed a penalty, then went to Chelsea. Straight in a weekend, they lost. So they all came back to count and a bit down and all this and that and the other. And so Alex Ferguson as well. And I had a bit of a chat with him and I said, we're at the Federer moment. And he said, what do you mean? He says, well, Federer played, I read an article once, in a Grand Slam, won the 2 sets easy, lost the other 2, and then he was 5-4 up, 40-30 up. That's the Federer moment. It doesn't matter how you get there, because if he wins that point, he wins the game, he wins the set, he wins the tournament. So we've gone to Barcelona, and that's the same with Arsenal. They've gone to City, they lost. But at the moment in time, you need to look what's in front of you. They're 3 points ahead, then you want to stay ahead, focus on that. Make sure you channel the energy to the right things. At that particular time with United, they beat West Ham, right? The week after, they went to Wigan and they won the league. And the midweek, they beat Barcelona and they went to the Champions League final. So sometimes it's just press the reset button. That's all you need. And to making sure that all the players that matters, that have to contribute, that they're on the same line. It has to be aligned.
Well, René says it doesn't matter how you get there. I mean, was there any surprise it came from a corner?
Not really. Listen, if that's a weapon that they've had, and they've been fantastic at it this season. I mean, and it doesn't just stand up to teams this season; it stands up to team in Premier League history. Steve, that's taken them ahead, hasn't it? Quite incredible. So Arsenal, the most corners in the history of the Premier League, or most goals from corners, I should say, and then we've just had a look at more detail, let's say, at their corners from this season. And we can see that normally, of course, they cross it in directly. And they've had a few short corners, but at the weekend against Newcastle, they really use this as a ploy. Now, I guess, Rennie, when you're playing against a team that have got tall players, Dan Burn, etc., Arsenal also scored 2 goals corners in the reverse fixture against Newcastle earlier in the season. And they tried short corners then. But in this game at the weekend, they really went for the short corners. I presume it was because of the height of Newcastle.
I think it's very clever. And everybody, criticises Arsenal for these. And I think it's ridiculous. I mean, every manager looks for an edge. And they've discussed their season goals scored from open play and whatever, this and that. And they looked at the set pieces, obviously. And they said there's something to be gained. And if they would win the league on the back of that, fair dues. You have to applaud them for it. And that is exactly what you do. You find a strategy, and how can we get the best, a chance of scoring goals from set pieces? And did it exactly against Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, it was a common theme, as we've mentioned, Steve. Let's have a look at the reverse fixture. Here's short corners again that they tried away at Newcastle early on in the season. There's the first goal. And this is the second one. This is more of a direct corner. So they've obviously worked on it. They've obviously thought about it against Newcastle in the past. Now, this is
at the weekend. Real theme with these. Short corner, heading for Eze. That one, they messed up a little bit. They got a little bit of stick from the crowd. They want to see it whipped in. They try it again, exactly the same one again. This time it gets to Eze, and he just fires a warning shot. Doesn't go in, but Newcastle must be thinking, right, you know, this is becoming a theme.
Third time lucky.
They just switch it up a little bit again. Same thing to start with, and then boom, right through the middle, same man free. And what a finish that is. Now, I'm really interested in Ødegaard's reaction here, because I mentioned a little bit of animosity from the crowd towards the players. Just have a look at Ødegaard here. He starts going like that, patting it down, saying, calm down, stick with us. We know what we're doing. We're good from corners. We don't need you getting on our backs, you know, just because we've not scored from 2 corners, trying to play a different style of play. Just calm it down a little bit. So, again, a different type of corner, bit of variety, and they've done it again.
Absolutely massive win. 1-0 just to, like I said, what Manchester United today with Brentford to get the points over the line is exactly the same with Arsenal. They wanted, they need, and they got obviously another game before Man City plays, so they could get 6 points. And then again, there's a gap, and Man City has to bridge that gap. You know, you better have the points on the board.
Yeah. Slight concerns over injuries to Eze and Havertz. And I'm just interested here, you're right, they do play before City next, but unlike City, either side of that Fulham game, they have huge Champions League semi-finals with Atletico Madrid away and then at home. You've been in coaching staff juggling this. I mean, how demanding is that to go from a huge semi-final back to the Premier League and another semi-final?
Yeah, when we came to that stage of the season, you know that Sir Alex Ferguson was always very big in rotating the squad.
Yeah.
But when it came to sort of March, April, that rotation should have stopped, because then you want to get your best players, and that's making sure you got your best players fit, which is important, and you want stability, you know, in that respect. So you didn't see too many changes then. Obviously, I think Arteta hasn't made too many changes overall anyway. Massive game, but a great, listen, this is where you want to be. As a club of the stature of Arsenal or Man City or Manchester United, that's where you want to be. Don't complain, it's exciting. You know, you got, you know, these games ahead of you, and take it game by game.
Are you on horse Arsenal or horse City at this stage? Which one would you ride?
Listen, City has picked up in enormous form over the last few weeks, and obviously got to another final in the FA Cup, etc. But I look at the run in there with Everton and Brentford and Chelsea and Aston Villa, Bournemouth and Crystal Palace. There's a sneaky feeling in myself here, that they could have a draw somewhere in there. They could have a draw in there. Whereas I think that Arsenal's got a little bit of a better, but they've got the European games as well.
Have you changed from last Monday? Or?
What did I say last Monday?
Arsenal.
Toss of a coin. Arsenal still. I'm going to go Arsenal again. No, I think Arsenal's slightly the easier running. Yeah, I'm sticking with Arsenal.
OK, brilliant. Rene, fantastic for you to see us again. Thank you very much
No
indeed
problem,
for being with us. Rene Meulenstein,